firefighter. Oh wow, that's a big thing. People just want to watch the world burn. That's what we're doing. That's what.
Hey y'all, I hope you are doing so amazing. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Genevieve. I am a flight attendant and a full-time backpacker. I am currently in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. I just started my backpacking trip through Europe for the next month, so I hope you all tune in for that. That'll be the next few videos. I just wanted to get on here for this next video. I had put on my Instagram story on Tuesday asking you guys what questions you have about me becoming a flight attendant. So this is my way to help you all go see the world for yourselves. So let's answer some questions. Okay, so question one, I haven't typed on my laptop because I don't have any easier way to do it since I'm not at home with my whole setup. Hey, this is super random, but what was the process like to become a flight attendant? I'm kind of having a career crisis right now and I'm thinking about what I really like, and I like traveling, even though I haven't gotten to travel that much, haha. And I figured being a flight attendant could make me happy, but I have no idea how to do anything. So picking that apart piece by piece, what is the process like to becoming a flight attendant? So straight from applying, you apply on their website, and typically airlines open their applications once a year. If you join a Facebook group, they normally can send you notifications like, hey, United is going to open in a week. But with my airline, you apply online, and at the time that I applied, they had kept it open because of post-COVID hires. But now they open it once a year. So after applying online, you of course have to wait to hear back. They will email you or call you. I got a phone call saying, hey, we are offering you a spot for an in-person interview. We would like to fly you to Dallas, and they set it all up. So they flew me to Dallas for 2 days to go to this interview. The beginning point, there's a cat outside, guys. It's behind the bike. So they flew me to Dallas, and in the morning it's like an 8-hour day. They start off telling you like what the job entails. I think they almost try to kind of scare you from it. And then they of course have you go and do the jump seat test and the reach test. The reach test is to make sure that you can reach the overhead bins or any emergency equipment that you might need. So they have you stand there. They do make you take your shoes off and reach up. And if you can touch the line, then you were okay. If not, then they do send you home right away. And then the jump seat test is to make sure that you can buckle into the jump seat safely per FAA regulations. After that, you find out if you get the CJO on the same day. If you get the CJO or the conditional job offer, then they have you do a drug test and they make you wait for that drug test to be approved. So they don't officially offer you, but they tell you like, hey, if you pass this drug test, you are getting the CJO. And upon receiving the CJO, you then have it scheduled out. Mine was scheduled out, I think 3 months ahead of time, maybe 4 months. It might have been longer than that. And for the CJO, they fly you to Dallas for training, or at least my airline to Dallas for training. And then you are there for a month of extensive training, teach you all of the medical procedures, emergency procedures, how to do the job on a daily. And you do have to pass every test with, I think it was 90%, it might have been 100% for some of them, but you do get retakes. And the program is so helpful, and you will make some of your best friends. I've heard horror stories of drama, and there was no drama in my class, so it was super lucky. And we would hang out in the hallways, and I'll insert the video, but we have videos of us all like putting post-it notes on the doors to go through the door procedures for opening and closing it, since it was super strict. Next, I'm kind of having a career crisis right now, and I'm thinking about what I really like, and I like traveling. Honestly, if I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys, I was having like a life crisis when I applied. I had just gotten out of a 3-year relationship, and I was really struggling in school at the time. And I was like, you know, I just want to travel. Like, that was the whole reason for going to school anyways, was to travel. So I was looking for jobs online, and I had applied to a ton of law firms because that was my goal. And then I saw a flight attendant position. So I applied kind of as a joke, like, haha, what if I got it? And so then when I went to my in-person interview, I had the attitude like, well, now at this point I had gotten a job at an amazing law firm with a guy who was really going to help me go to school. So I went to this training or this job, and I was like, okay, well, if I don't get it, whatever. I don't know if I even want it. If I do get it, I'll probably end up rejecting it because I have a good job. I was in a really great relationship at the time. Like, I was doing okay again. I had rebuilt myself. But then throughout the interview process, I made some amazing friends, and I got really excited about the thought of traveling full time. And honestly, if I had not taken this job, my life would be completely different right now. I don't know what it would be like, but it would be completely different. I figured being a flight attendant could make me happy, and I have no idea how to do anything. So they do teach you how to do everything. All I want you to focus on right now is going to the Facebook page and searching aspiring flight attendants. Join that Facebook group and they will give you notifications when all of the applications open, and a platform where you can ask more questions. And there are so many flight attendants on there that are more than happy to help you with your questions, or you can always message me as well. Okay, so question number 2 is a little bit more simple, and it's just how long are you gone for? This one, while it might be simple, it can vary based on your schedule. So when you first start, you are on reserves, and reserves means that you are basically on call. You were on call for 20 days of the month, and you get like 10 or 11 days off. I know I have a line now, and I haven't been on reserves in a long time. But when I was on reserves, you are mostly at home, I felt like. At least in my base, I was mostly home, and they would call me in for an 8-hour standby shift at the airport, meaning like I could end up being called on a sequence at that moment. And a sequence is when you have 4 to 5 days off. I'll do a whole video on flight attendant scheduling. Maybe I'll make that my next flight attendant video, because it is so complex. But the longest I'm ever gone for a work sequence is 4 days. So the longest trip is 4 days, then you can have a 2-day sequence, a 3-day sequence, or just a turn. And a turn is flying like from Phoenix to, say, Monterey, California and back. So that one really depends. The longest you're gone is 4 days. Question number 2, what schooling did you have to complete? To get the job, none. You do not have to have any schooling completed other than your high school diploma or your GED. When you are going through the application process, I don't know because I'm not an interviewer, but I have heard rumors that having some sort of education does help. But I know that they do mostly look for customer service experience. If you've worked in a restaurant for a long time, I know a lot of flight attendants that I have worked at Starbucks prior to working as a flight attendant, just because of the super high demand and the customer service that Starbucks requires of their employees. Question number 3 is a little unrelated, but it says all languages you are currently fluent in or are working on. My airline does not require you to be fluent in another language, and you do not get extra pay for a language. If I were to go mainline, I do know that I would get extra pay per language I speak, and I am currently fluent in 4: French, English, sign language, and Portuguese. Portuguese is mostly fluent. Like, I can have a conversation with you and I can direct a conversation about sustainability and an academic awareness program, because that is where I focus on in my Portuguese. But it also is probably a little bit rusty now. So fluent in 3, mostly fluent in Portuguese, and then conversational in Mandarin, and I can read Mandarin. Writing it, I probably can't do anymore. If I were to practice it again, yes, I do hope to start taking classes again. And then Latin and Greek, I can read. And I can write out most Greek. Question, I don't remember what number question we're on, but the next question is how do you stay healthy when you're on a plane full of sick people? This is something that no one tells you, but when you are on a plane full of sick people, or not even like a plane, when you first start the job, the first year, you are going to be sick at least once a month. I can promise you that. I had a strong immune system before because I'm always going out and always doing things, so I was surrounded by people with sickness before. But when you are on a plane, you are in a little tube full of people, and most of the time there are sick people on that plane. And I was getting sick every single month to the point where it was so exhausting. And of course, for your first year when you're on reserves, you are already exhausted as it is, because you just don't know when you're working. But your immune system gradually builds up. Like now, I very rarely get sick, and when I do get sick, I get super, super, super sick, almost like it just attacks me all at once. When I do start to feel sick, I get the medicine ball from Starbucks. That is a lifesaver. And then of course, like if I am around someone who is sick, vitamin C right away. It was a running joke in my family because they all got sick, and I literally would not even sit in a room with them because the attendance policies were so strict with the airline, and I was not about to risk getting sick again because I had been sick so much. Next question is, how long did it take to get trained or certified to be a flight attendant? So from the moment of interview to graduating as a flight attendant, probably at least 6 months. The training alone is 1 month. You get 3 weeks of in-person training and 1 week of virtual training prior to the in-person training. But the entire process takes 6 months. So this isn't a job where you can be like, oh, I'm going to apply and I'll have a job in 2 weeks type of thing. This is a job that you have to plan for, you have to save for, and you have to have some mode of income while you are waiting to get there. And for training, it isn't paid. you do get bonuses, but these are not bonuses that will pay your bills. So make sure you do have money to get through your training period. And then also for the first month, because your pay is staggered by month and not by pay period. So make sure you have enough money to get through at least 2 months with no income. Okay, so I did get a lot of questions and it was almost overwhelming. So to keep this video as simple and short as possible, I will do a part 2 later with more questions. I've been trying to hit all of them. Next week I will be doing a scheduling video. I think, yeah, I'll do a scheduling video. Not next week, the week after is when that one will post. So what's it like getting shifts when you're first starting out? My sister's friend said it's not like your typical 9 to 5 and you don't get as many flights when you start out. So when you are starting out, you are on reserves, which is I touched on earlier. It is on call. You are on call for 20 days a month. You can bid for what days you are on call and what days you are off. You are on call. You don't know what you are working until the night before. You don't know if you are going to be on a wrap period, which is a stay at home and be on call with a 2-hour call out. So you get to be at home for 16 hours. They can call you and they can say, hey, we need you at the airport in 2 hours. So that is one assignment you can get. You can get a standby shift, which is 8 hours sitting inside the airport waiting for a phone call. And if they call you, you have to get on the plane probably within like 15 minutes max. But you have to be ready to get on the plane and go. And then you can get assigned a sequence, which is just a normal, like you are going up to here tomorrow and then you'll be here the next day, just a normal flight sequence. My sister's friend said it's not like your typical 9 to 5. It is not. You are not going to work a 9 to 5 ever again if you work this job. There are some days where I work from like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. over multiple time zones. So the times aren't really relevant. Let's say from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. and then the next day I will work 9 p.m. to midnight. Or I can work 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It really varies so much based on your schedule. And as you get more senior, you can start building your schedule the way you like it and getting the flight times that you like. So if you want to work 9 to 5, you can bid for those turns. But those do go super, super senior. So when you are first starting out, just plan to not have a plan. Honestly, you can't, this job doesn't really allow you to have a plan most of the time. And when you don't get as many flights when you start out, that can go both ways as well. At my base, no, you don't get as many flights starting out. But in Dallas, you will be flying more than most line holders because you are on call. So they want to use you. They use you and abuse you all the time. That's one of the sayings they have. And then same in Chicago. I heard that those flight attendants get used a ton, but the Miami base does not. So that one depends on what base you are at. So do that research prior to asking for the base that you want as well. As always, thank you everyone so much for tuning into this week's video. I had fun answering some of these questions. As I said, I did get more questions than I was expecting to get. So I will be doing a part 2 of the video here soon. Next week, the next flight attendant video will be going over the scheduling, how scheduling tends to work. And keep tuned because as I said at the intro, I am in Amsterdam right now. So I am starting my backpacking through Europe playlist. So if you want to see me backpack through Europe, see the travel vlogs, see what it's really like living out of hostels for a month and out of 2 backpacks for a month, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And thank you so much y'all for watching. I hope you get to go see the world.